Hi everybody and welcome. I'm glad you came out today for your 45-minute workout from home. My name's Deva Carr here at CFB Halifax at the Fleet Fitness and Sports Center. Now before we get into anything, I've got a couple things that I've got to let you know. First of all, this will be a yoga class with a little bit of flow elements. So be sure to have a good workout, a good stretch on, but it will not include the range of motion that you might expect sometimes with a yoga / range of motion class. Second, there will be no music in here so that I can make sure that my voice is picked up well by the microphone, but feel free, put on your own music, jam out, get something that relaxes you, something that motivates you and keeps you going through this workout. And the last thing that I have to let you know is our disclaimer. In response to COVID-19, PSP is offering virtual fitness to Canadian Armed Forces members. By using social media platforms, the virtual fitness classes tailored to Canadian Armed Forces personnel become accessible to all. Participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members recognize and acknowledge that their age, health status, and physical fitness level are unknown, and it is entirely up to each individual to assess their ability to participate in this class. Since it is preferable to consult your physician before beginning any exercise program, we invite all participants who are not Canadian Armed Forces members to consult the Get Active Questionnaire of the Canadian Society of Exercise Physiology and its reference document in the description down below. If you experience any pain or difficulty during the exercises presented in this video, it is recommended that you stop and consult a healthcare provider. If CAF members sustain an injury during this video, please remember to fill out a CF98. And if you're joining us online, you can drop a comment down below. Remember to use hashtag CAFPSPFitness or hashtag CPPSPFAC. All right, let's ready to get going. Slide that out of the way. You might want to take off your socks, get those little toes free, and we'll stand up at the top of our mats. Now this is the most important position, is your starting Tadasana mountain pose, because the alignment that you find here guides the alignment that you have in the rest of your postures. So make sure that you feel good, you shake out any kinks, anything that feels funny, wiggle your toes, roll your ankles. Yeah, just see what's going on in your body today. And then plant your feet with wide spread toes, big toes touching and heels a few inches apart. That way your knees aren't going to be pointing outwards. You want to align the knees forwards so that the bones stack up, the joints don't have to work so hard, and the muscles can be stable. Hips over top of knees, knees over top of midfoot. Open your hands to the front of your mat. Wiggle your fingers, clench up your fists, just like we did for our feet, we want to do for our hands. Good, and then give your shoulders a nice roll up towards your ears, back and down, and see where they fall. Let's do it a couple more times. Up by the ears, back, and see where they fall. So we're letting the heart and the lungs lift up a little bit in our ribcage, that proud chest feeling. Take a big breath in, and a big sigh out. And we'll try one more time. Pull the shoulders up, roll them all the way back, squeezing the shoulder blades together, and then drop them where they land. There's the sigh. Breathe in, breathe out. Wake up the hands, wake up the eyes. Yeah. Take a big breath in through your nose, a little breath exercise, pranayama. Breathe out through your nose. Good thing to practice that right now. In through the nose, out through the nose. We'll do one more. In through the nose. Making sure you're keeping your alignment. Breathe out through your nose. And on your next breath in, lift your hands to your heart. Bring the palms together for a little bit of squeeze. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in a long breath. And on your exhale, cross your fingers and push your hands down. Linking a little bit of physical movement with that breath action. Inhale through your nose and lift your arms up. Exhale through your mouth, push your palms together. Until they cross your heart, cross your fingers and press the air all the way out. Do it again. Inhale, push up. Exhale. Let your breath fall out of your belly. Push it all out, every last drop. Inhale. Exhale. Making an audible breath and switching your fingers every once in a while. Inhale. You're set to cross your fingers the other way this time, a little bit uncomfortable way. Just stretch out all your knuckles. One more. Inhale. And this time, instead of stopping at the heart and crossing the fingers, soften your knees and with a long spine, bend down. And it doesn't matter, maybe the hamstrings are a little bit tight. If you don't reach the floor, bring your water bottle close by. Maybe you have a couple blocks, or just push against your legs. Lengthen your spine with a breath in. Relax your spine on a breath out. Let's do that again. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, relax your spine. Bend your knees, push through the floor. Inhale, reach your hands up. Exhale, fold all the way down. So we're building on this pattern. Inhale, halfway lift, long spine, reach your head forwards. And then exhale, relax. Let the whole back fall down. Inhale, hands come up, push through your knees, push through your feet, tall. Exhale, fold all the way down. Good practice of keeping your back safe and healthy. Inhale to straighten and lengthen forwards. Exhale to relax. Let it round, let the neck hang, push through the floor. Inhale, stand up. And side bend. Reaching to one side. Start on whichever side you like. I'll try not to use too many lefts and rights until it gets complicated, so you just follow your own body. This is a great thing, even if you're not a regular practitioner of yoga. You can learn a lot through these movements and through this practice about how your body feels, how your body moves, what feels good. But if it doesn't, back off. You can always come in and try again. Let's switch to the other side with a big reach up, breathe in. And then exhale, side bend. So there's a big stretch that happens all from your arm, shoulder, armpit, down through your side body. And you can even press your hips out the opposite direction of your reach. But try not to collapse. Always remember, in those big inhales, lift your body up, lift the stretch out of any uncomfortable feelings. And then if it feels all right, you can stretch back in on the exhales. Maybe go a little bit deeper, a little more uncomfortable if it feels okay. And trying to breathe in through the nose, out through the nose. Inhale, come back up to center. Exhale your hands down in front of your shoulders. Heel toe your feet a little bit further apart, about hip width, no wider than your shoulders. Just getting the legs a little bit more warm. We had some work on the backs of the legs, and now we want to fire up the fronts of your legs, your quads. Keep your posture space, shoulders back, arms a little wider. Yeah. And if it helps, inhale, shoulders up by your ears. Exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and let them drop where they are. Good. Take a peek down past your knees. You should be able to see all 10 toes. Give them a wiggle. Good. And spread your weight out evenly across your feet. Sit a little bit lower, pull your belly button in to keep your core engaged, to hold you up. And take one more big breath in, lift your chest. And exhale, fold back over. Let the knees straighten a little bit, push against your legs, lift up halfway. This time on your exhale, plant your hands, walk your feet back, take as many steps as you need, and gently lower yourself down onto your belly. And we're just going to set up a little bit. The alignment, like I said in Tadasana and mountain pose standing tall, guides the movement and the alignment for everything else. So align your back here on the floor. You can even let your ear down to make sure that your hips are in alignment. Your hands aren't too wide apart. And maybe just go a couple inches further back from your shoulders than you had them. That way you've got lots of room. Roll your shoulders up to your ears. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, turn your head to face the floor, your face it, and then squeeze your shoulder blades together. Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. And it looks like a simple pose, a back extension. We know we're flexing the back muscles, we're squeezing the shoulder blades, we're breathing in and out through the nose. And off often we'll use our low back where we have more mobility to crank up the rest of the spine. While you're holding this posture, focus on, again, engaging the core, the abdominals flex, shortening the space between your hips and your ribs. And see if you can use those muscles to point your tailbone back at your feet as your feet press back and down into the floor. And if that helps, squeeze your shoulder blades a little bit closer together and see if you can lift up just a millimeter higher. Take a big breath in. As you exhale, lower back down to the floor. Turn your head the other way. And I hope you can still hear me as I talk to the corner back here. But let your arms relax by your sides, palms up to the ceiling, bend your knees, sway. Because we're building up to a harder, a more involved back bend. Turn your face to the floor. This time, if you can, clasp your hands behind your back. If they don't quite reach, then feel free to keep your arms by your sides, palms facing the floor, but lift them out like wings and use your arms to pull back and lift your chest. Use your core to keep your hips, your pelvic bones anchored on the floor, and then lift with your legs, your hamstrings, the backs of your thighs. Take your toes off the floor and point your toes long to remind yourself of where your tailbone is pointing. Reach back for your heels, squeeze your shoulder blades together, breathe. And hold this length through your whole body, this alignment from the tip of your nose down to the tip of your toes. Breathe in and out. We'll take one more breath. Lift up. Exhale, lower down. Put your hands under your shoulders and press up onto your knees. Now that we've had some static or in one place flexing of the back, let's move with it. Exhale, try to look at your belly button. And then inhale, look at the ceiling, lift your tailbone up, arching the back. Exhale to curl your spine. And then inhale to make that arch. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And on the next one, exhale, squeeze your tummy, straighten your spine. If you want, step both feet back. If that's a lot on your plank, lower your knees to the ground. Because we're going to talk about the alignment again. Just like we had with your chair pose, when we were firing up the quads, the front of your thighs, we want to make sure our shoulders are externally rotated so they stay in the socket, and it supports that posture, the shoulder blades down your back. So try to lengthen your neck long. Maybe that drags you forwards a little bit. Ground down through all sides of each hand, so we don't want to be leaning on the pinky fingers. We don't want to be leaning on the wrists. We want to press down through the fingertips. And keep your core active and flexing. So you can make this as easy or as hard as you want. If you want to sag in your joints and let your arms hold you up, then this will be really hard on the arms and the shoulders and probably your wrists. But we want to take the weight off of the arms, lifting in and up through the tummy to make this hard on the abs. So take one more breath. Look forwards. And as you exhale, bend your elbows backwards, lowering back down onto the floor. Good. Take a breath in. And from here, exhale, push yourself back. Curl your toes under. Lift the knees off the floor, and with bent knees, walk it out, straightening one leg as the opposite knee bends. We're easing into our downward facing dog today. And have your feet as wide as is comfortable. If you want to go mat width apart, if you want to stay a little closer to hip width apart, that's the easiest place to find alignment for your legs and your back. Or if you want to challenge your balance, bring your big toes to touch, just like in Tadasana, standing up. Press through your arms, let your head hang, and take one more breath. Look up to your hands, walk your way back up to the start of your mat. Big toes touch, heels a few inches apart, bend your knees, inhale, stand up. Exhale, your hands down in front of your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Breathe in. Exhale, sit back and down. Inhale your hands together at your heart and take a twist, bringing the opposite elbow to the knee and using the knee stable, thighs squeezing together, heels pushing apart as your base. Pressing hand into hand, look up over your shoulder. Yeah, Parivrita Utkatasana, twisted chair pose. Take a breath in and exhale. Maybe you'll twist a little bit further. Take another breath in and look down at your knees. If one's getting ahead of the other, squeeze it back and then take one more breath to twist. In through the nose, out through the nose. Inhale, stand up, come back to center. We'll give you a little break. And reset. Hands down in front of your shoulders. Exhale, hips back behind the knees, knees back behind the toes. Inhale, hands to heart. And exhale to twist the other way. Inhale, start to look up. Trying to make sure that your head stays above your heart stays above your hips. So either sinking the hips down a little bit lower or backing off a little bit, keeping the whole body aligned from the waist down. So this twist can be safe up your spine. You can extend one arm if the knee is a little far away. And you can go back and try the other side again if this modification feels better for you. Inhale, come back to center, reach up. Exhale, sit back and down. Like I said, we'll try it the other way. Inhale, this top hand can come onto your low back. That way you're feeling your hips stay square with your knees and your feet. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, sit back and down. And if you're feeling really confident with your hips being square, your feet and legs being stable, and your twist is not quite making the elbow, then maybe expand both arms and see how that feels. One more breath. Inhale, stand back up. Hands together through the heart. Exhale, fold all the way down. Inhale, lift halfway up. Press against your legs, long spine. Exhale, plant your hands. Step your feet and knees back. So we're back in that tabletop position. Good. We'll get a little bit more crunching out of the abdominals. Take one leg back. Stretch it way, way back. Take a big breath in. And exhale, squeeze the knee into the chest. Inhale, stretch back. Exhale and squeeze in. Now you can ramp this up with the opposite hand. And maybe bring knee to elbow. Makes it a little bit harder to keep the alignment. Let's switch sides. Just to see how the other side feels before we take it any further. On each exhale, knee to chest. Maybe adding the balance difficulty. And remembering to keep your arms in their sockets, shoulders back, tummy supporting the spine so that it's not being held just by your shoulders. Inch back a little bit further so that we're nearly at the plank. And we'll practice leaning in. Lean in, push your feet into the ground. We're in that plank. The soft bend at the elbows, and then back off. Remember to breathe. Inhale, lean into the plank. Exhale, back off. You should be feeling a lot of stretch in the wrists too, and I want you to prepare for that. Inhale, leaning in. Exhale, stay here. Little micro bend in the elbow. One more breath. All the way in, all the way out. Good. Back it off. You can take a little child's pose here, letting your head rest on the ground. Knees together, knees wide. That's up to you. Don't forget to stay hydrated if you're in a hot place that doesn't have air conditioning. Or if you haven't had a lot of water to drink today already. And we'll set that back up. Good. This time I'm going to encourage you to try this plank from the toes. If not, no big deal. Keep the knees down. We can always back off. But we're going to keep going with that single leg curling up towards the hands. But this time, we're going to add a little something, something. So this time, leg comes up, elbows micro bend, take a big breath in, and exhale. Try to pull your knee to the same elbow. Inhale back. Maybe getting up as high as the tricep. One more time, maybe up as high as the armpit. And back. Lower down if you need. This time we'll use the other leg. Lift the leg up and hold it here, making sure your arms are stable, your core is active, your leg is lifting up, not your butt. Take a big breath in and exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale back. Exhale, knee to tricep. Exhale back. Inhale, knee to armpit. Exhale back and lower down to the ground. Arms by your sides. Jello out your shoulders, wiggle out your bum, bend your knees, sway your feet. Anything to get back onto your mat, back in your body after that hard balance. Because that's what it is. We're building up to a balance. And this time, just like before, hands a little bit further back than you're used to. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Push your feet into the floor so hard your knees come off the ground, your thighs start to come off the ground. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, lifting up like a cobra. And if this is a lot of effort, stay right here. If you're ready for more, start to press through your arms. Upward facing dog, keep your shoulder blades squeezing back. Eyes front, abs on, legs pushing, breathe in. Wherever you're at, bend your knees, fold over your toes, and work your way into downward facing dog. 5 breaths. This one's a little bit longer now. 2. 3, keeping the arms pressing out. Lifting your tailbone up, helping to stretch your legs. 1 more breath in through your nose. Lift your heels, bend your knees, look ahead, and try to hop or walk to your hands. Lift up halfway. And exhale, relax down. Okay. Bend your knees as much as you need. Find your way to your feet hip width apart. I like to use my 2 fists to make sure that I've got the right amount of space between my feet. No extra. No short. And from here, use your first 2 fingers to grab hold of your big toe. That's why I say you'll want to take your socks off. If you don't have socks off, it'll be hard to grab hold of. You might find you're grabbing kind of the whole toe area to help ground this forward fold. So the arms are working to pull your chest towards your thighs. We're not trying to pull the spine towards the floor, just chest towards thighs. Close up that space. That's why it helps to bend the knees, close up that space. From here, then you can start to push with your feet and feel the stretch coming up the backs of your legs as much as you are able. If it hurts, you're going too hard. 3 more breaths. And this is helping to get the knees closer to your underarms, closer to your triceps. 1 more breath. And let go of your toes. Sway left and right. Nod your head. Shake out your neck side to side. And then ragdoll, push through your heels. And slowly rise 1 vertebra at a time until you've come up to stand. Let's do another shoulder roll to find toe to bring back the balance. Okay. Hands to the hips. We'll balance on the hands in a little bit, but first we need to balance on the feet. So the feet are as close together. Shift your weight into one foot, so that way you're not picking the other foot up. You're already all on one foot. You're already balanced, aligned over your center of gravity. As the knee comes up, gently extend your hip and leg to the side. Now you don't want to have your foot pushing into your knee joint, so slide your foot down. Shoulders back, tall, proud breath. Spread out your toes and begin to squeeze between your foot and your leg to bring energy inwards. Begin to squeeze your glutes, extending your hips. So that's what this is happening. Your knee is turning out. Your hands can stay on your hips, or if you're feeling balanced, your hands can come to your heart or over your head. Keep your shoulders down wherever your hands go. And keep working on opposing those forces. The knee going out, the foot squeezing in. Tree pose. Inhale your knee back to center. Your hands back to your hips. Your feet back on the ground. And if there's any tension in your toes and your foot and your calf, you can push down on your or roll your ankle. And don't worry, it's going to get a break side. So shift your weight. Find your center of gravity so that you're already hovering on one foot when the other knee lifts up. Take your time to stay balanced. And it doesn't need to be exaggerated. You don't need to force it into a version of tree pose you've done on another day. Just go where your body takes you and squeeze the foot into the leg. Lift your waist out of your hip. Lift your heart. And maybe move where you want your hands. For balance, say your hands overhead because I did it on the other side. But you go wherever you need to go. Inhale your knee forwards, and exhale, let everything come down. And fold over, roll the ankle, whatever you need to do on the other side. And from here, it starts to get a little left and righty. So I will lead with my left, stepping the left foot down the mat, wide in the stance. We're looking for a warrior two stance. So that means your feet are going to be perpendicular. Your left knee is going to be mostly straight. I don't want a lockout, that'll make it hard to balance, but mostly straight, long through the leg. Maybe you can take up the whole mat. The right knee bends so the knee stays over top of the ankle. Once you've got that spread going through the feet, you'll feel some stretch through your left inner thigh. And look for that. So flex your core, lift the hips up to the ribs, the tailbone to point down like we worked on in our back extensions. The arms out, but still falling where they may so that the shoulders can stay strong as we maintain this stance. Notice if your right knee is caving in, use your glutes. That's why we did tree pose right before it. The glutes will help to extend the hips on both sides, so that your hips point towards the long edge of your mat. You can bring your gaze across your front hand, but you don't need to if that's overstretching your neck. I'm just looking for a little bit more depth here. Flip your right palm up and reach to the ceiling. Your left hand can rest on as you side bend into this warrior two. Breathe. Inhale to stretch up, exhale to explore the pose. Listen to the stretch your body is giving you. You're working here. Breathe in, breathe out. One more time. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale back up to warrior two. Okay, still with me? Cartwheel your hands to box your front foot, pivot your left foot, and bend the knee. Rocking your foot back, find your way into a plank. Shifting forwards, take a big breath in. On the exhale, bend the elbows. Chaturanga, holding this low push-up position, keeping the shoulders back, the tummy in, and lower to the ground. Your choice, baby cobra or upward facing dog for one full breath in through the nose, and exhale to fold back to downward facing dog and walk it out. Take 3 breaths. Spread out your fingers, spread out your toes. Don't spend too long here. Look up, left leg comes up in the sky, and exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, back up to the sky. Exhale, knee towards tricep or back on the elbow, or maybe you're lower to the wrist, that's close too. And then come up one more time. Good, stepping back. Stretch it out. Lift the left leg up. And we're going to the other side. So now the left foot is in front. The right foot is going to rotate. Windmill, your arms back up. Warrior two on the other side. So find your footing. The front foot should line up with the center of your back foot. Bend in. Open the thigh to your left. Try to lift up from the waist, from the heart. Just stretch these lower muscles, the inner thighs. Work the glutes, sit a little bit deeper. Flip the left hand. Inhale, exalted warrior. Side bending this warrior two. Look up to your hand. Your spine goes where your eyes go, so look up, lift up. And then let your legs sink you a little closer to earth. One more time. Inhale, steady. Maybe you're looking a little bit deeper now that you're balanced, shoulders over hips again. And then on the next exhale, cartwheel down. Step back, high plank. Exhale, chaturanga, low push-up. Hold it here if you can. Take an extra breath in through the nose, out through the nose. Lower down if you need to. Inhale to cobra or up dog, your choice. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Just to get centered, just to get squared, you know where we're going. The right leg is going to reach knee to elbow. Finish this exhale, maybe a sigh, and then inhale the leg up. Exhale the knee forwards. Inhale the leg up. Exhale the knee forwards. One more time. And put your right foot down. And this time, bend your knees, walk until your feet are behind your hands. Squat down so you can reach your water bottle. We'll take another little water break here. Our next posture, crow pose, is our arm balancing posture. It's what all the hip opening, what all the arm strengthening, all the core engagement has been leading up to. So once you had a little rest, bend back down. And if you don't get into its deepest squat, if your mobility is impinged or restricted in any way, no problem. You can definitely still try to get in from up here with the hands on the ground and bend the elbows. So bending your elbows here creates a little shelf for your knee to meet the elbow. And that's where we're looking. A squeeze in between the knee and the elbow, just like with tree pose. The body is pushing against itself evenly, and then we look forwards. Looking forwards helps to lift the tummy. Spine starts to tip forwards, and maybe you start to flex. One foot off the ground, flex the other foot off the ground, so it's not just happening passively. You're finding that tipping point where all of your weight then comes into your hands, and the squeeze and push between your arms and legs is what keeps you here, holds you here. And come out of it as you need. Adjust, just like we did, knee to elbow. The higher up the knee gets in the arm, the more centered your gravity will be to land evenly between your hands. Good. And we'll take one more practice time. It's always good to rest and really think about what this feels like, what balance means for you today. Lift up through your tummy, keep looking forwards. If you fall on your face, it's okay. The ground is only a few inches away. And lower down. Easing back, heel toe your feet back so they're hip width apart. And you can either clasp your big toes or slide the whole palm underneath the sole of your foot. This can feel really good to wiggle your toes and massage your wrists. You can pull back on your hands to stretch. Relax your neck. And just like before, a little bit of press through the legs is only there to take it the last millimeter further, because we're still pulling the chest towards the thighs. Unfurl your hands, give your shoulders a roll. Ragdoll up to stand. Shoulders up, back, and down. Heel toe feet back together. Inhale, hands up for a stretch. Exhale, lead with your heart. Fold over your hips. Inhale, halfway up. Last flow. Exhale, high plank to low. Or all the way to the ground. Inhale to cobra, or your choice to up dog. Exhale to down dog. 5 breaths here. Quiet helps you focus on your own breath, on your own rhythm. Walk your hands back. So we're sitting on the knees. If this is a lot on the knees, you can roll up your mat. Either way, to give more cushion for your knees or to give some cushion under your ankles. Take a little toe stretch. We won't be here for too long, but 30 seconds. So I fan my toes out underneath my ankles, sitting my hips on my ankles, just to give my feet a little more room to breathe. First 30 seconds might already be enough for most. If you want to have another run at that, then you're welcome to try again after the rest of our stretches. Go through the cycle, rewind. This time, walk your knees to the corner of your mat. Frame your mat with your hands, then lift your front knee behind your back foot into pigeon pose. So looking for that hip, that glute stretch. Walking your foot back, framing your front calf across your mat. It doesn't need to be 90 degrees right across the mat. It should be on a bit of a diagonal, and you can lean in. Now, option to come down onto the elbows and hold yourself there, or stack your head up so you don't have to use the strength of your neck anymore, or bring your head all the way to the floor. But these are all options. Do whichever feels comfortable in the space you're in today. And again, that's about 30 seconds. Lean onto your hip to pull both knees forwards and turn to the other side. Pigeon, front foot behind the back one from that kneeling stance. Inching, inching, inching back till you have a good stretch through your glutes, through your hips. Lowering down, we'll change the direction, a little bit of that angle on the stretch, giving you more or less as needed. Side, just like before, we're going to lean onto that hip, pull the knees forwards. That way we can start from a seated position, and let's take a twist. So extend the left knee. Again, we're going to use lefts and rights because it gets a little bit tricky in the middle. Step your right foot to the outside of your left knee. Now your right hand is going to be an anchor point pretty close to your tailbone. You want it to match up under your spine. And then you can hug the left or the right knee with your left elbow. And there should be some more stretch through the glutes on the right side, maybe up the thigh, and then a little twist as you look over your right shoulder. Looking back to check what time the clock says. So we can stay here for about 30 seconds, twisting ever so much gently, a little bit every exhale. Get a little further around. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unwind, and if it feels good, take a little counter twist the other direction. Unwind your feet. You might want to sway. Stable up on your hip bones, and this time left foot steps over right. You'll notice I always flex my extended foot. That helps to keep me grounded and anchored. The left hand is going to be my second anchor, my kickstand behind me, so my back stays up, my shoulders over my hips. And then right arm hugs the left knee to help with the twist. And the stretch up right here, right through the T-band area. I call it my pockets. Tensor fascia latae is the Latin name for all of you Latin speakers listening in today. We're halfway there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Unwind and counter twist if that feels all right to you. And lift your knees up, both knees this time. And we did a lot of cueing to keep the shoulder blades together. Now I want you to stretch in between your shoulder blades. Wrap your arms under your knees to opposite ankles, or if that doesn't work, then you can still go over and push your knees and arms into one another, but just making sure the hand does make it to the opposite shin area. From here, we're going to tuck your chin and lean back into a slouch. An on-purpose slouch, the hands anchored on your shins will keep you there to stretch your shoulder blades apart. Feel really good for your back. These are muscles that usually get lengthened naturally over time, slouching or sitting. So we're not going to spend quite as long on this one. Just get yourself back up. Roll your shoulders, bring the soles of your feet together, and let the knees open out. Now from here, we always see the gym class standard, the knees bouncing, hanging on to your feet for dear life. Don't worry about your feet. Place your hands behind your hips as 2 kickstands. Maybe that helps you get a little bit closer to your feet. Push your feet together and helps put your knees to opposite sides of the room. And once you can feel this happening through your inner thighs, that's where you can stop. Just keep yourself in this position, feeling the stretch and breathing. Five, four, three, two, one. Lean back. You can even use your hands behind you to inch back out of that shape. Take your feet to opposite sides of the mat. Hold on to your legs and roll your back down. Let your head rest. Take Shavasana. 5, 10, maybe 30 minutes if you've got the time. Just stay here, eyes closed, lips soft, not pursing or forcing your breath. Let everything come natural for the next little bit. Or pause where we're at. Rewind, go through that stretch routine one more time. I hope you all got a good sweat. You earned your time to rest out of this.